Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our reaction and review for The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1. It has been quite the long time, but we are back. It has been 5 years in the world of The Last of Us. At least we didn't have to wait 5 years for this episode, so we can celebrate that question mark?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shows that have come back this year, like Severance and Handmaid's Tale, that have taken years to come back.
Yeah.
This has been a little bit less of a wait time, which is nice. It's nice to be able to dive back into this world. But yeah, there is a huge time jump here from when we last saw Ellie and Joel, where the big lie was put out there, and
Yeah.
to where we are now, where these two are like barely talking.
Yeah, we're gonna get into why that is, what's going on here, the emotional psychology. No, I'm not Gail, I'm not Catherine O'Hara. I'm sorry, everybody, if you were expecting that, but we'll
Nobody
do our best.
is.
Nobody is. Okay, I do want to blare a big metaphorical alarm here that this is a no spoiler zone. You know, we are not talking about the games. We have not played the video games. We are gamers, but we haven't played The Last of Us in particular.
No, I've played part of the first one. I've not played the second one, so this is a spoiler-free zone for all of us here at the channel, plus everyone else who's just watching the show. So,
Yeah.
you know, and sometimes they take things in different directions from books or games or whatever anyways, so you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so don't spoil things in the comments, please. We beg of you, be kind to your fellow person out there in YouTube world. But okay, we have so much to get into from the premiere, the implications of what we saw in the final couple of minutes, Sparklergate, so much more. But be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are going to be here with the reviews and so much more about The Last of Us throughout this season. And we're also in the midst of covering The Handmaid's Tale. We have been so lucky this year that there has been all of this top tier TV that's just been coming like one show after the next after the next.
Yeah, I mean, we have Alien Earth coming up this summer as well, and Dexter Resurrection. We're going to be covering all of that here at the channel, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. And you can follow us over on our Patreon as well. Right now, we're covering Bosch Legacy over there. We have a poll going on right now for what we're going to be covering next over there. Our patrons get to choose, and it's between Murderbot, Andor, and Criminal Minds. So if you want to vote on that poll, head over there. Let us know what you want us to cover next.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate that.
So the infected are changing. It seems like they're getting smarter.
This is always a fun premise. And I'm not just saying that as The Last of Us is being a little tropey because a lot of these like post-apocalyptic shows do this. But honestly, I don't mind because I don't think we all want to watch the same thing over and over and over again as TV viewers. I mean, to use the inevitable video game analogy, it's always a little bit easier to play a game and take down the same bad guys like 200 times, whether you're getting achievements or whatever else. But also, even if you're playing a video game, the enemies you're fighting in, I don't know, level 8 are not the same that you're fighting in level 1. The fact that I'm using levels ages me so terribly bad in this video. Because when did we last call them levels? 1998?
Listen, I'm like replaying Borderlands 1 right now. I'm also leveling, but it is sort of like that, right?
Yeah, it's just like, it's a situation where just as you're evolving as the protagonist, the antagonists are also going to evolve. And I mean, this poses a pretty interesting question for everybody who's living in Jackson all of this time is that, okay, how do you then cope around with all of this? Because if they're getting smarter, then you do have like that theoretical fear. It's like, okay, now they can all just find a way to come charging into this town eventually. This is kind of a ticking clock scenario, and that's not even without getting into the sparkler.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they are evolving because honestly, while I was watching this whole thing play out where you have Ellie, you have Dina, they're going to this place, they're running amok, they're going in fearless. And it was starting to remind me of The Walking Dead in the later seasons where it's kind of like, yeah, the walkers are out there, but they're not really a threat anymore. No one's really scared of them anymore. Season one, yeah. And the same with The Last of Us. Season one, yeah. But now it's kind of like, oh, it's 5 years later. Oh, they're not scared anymore. This is a game. They're joking and laughing as they're getting ready to take these things out. I was like, no, 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 no. This cannot just like sort of turn into the way of The Walking Dead, where we're going to start to get into, we're going on a supply run because, these guys are no threats anymore. So to see it right away that they're changing, they are adapting, and they're now like stalking Ellie, I was like, okay, all right, you guys are out of Walking Dead territory.
Thank goodness. Because, okay, here's the thing, and this was a huge concern of mine while we were watching this whole recon run through a lot of it, is that for those of you who don't know, this season is only 7 episodes, and I can put on a tinfoil hat and be like, oh, it's an HBO or Warner Brothers Discovery thing, because there's all this scuttlebutt that House of the Dragon was supposed to be longer, and then you have budgetary things and all that. But regardless of all of that, the second game in this series is being split up into at least 2 seasons and maybe even more. The show's already been renewed for a season 3. So I had a little bit of trepidation that was just like, okay, we're going to slow play this a little too much on a 7-episode season. So to have that evolution of our whole little cordyceps baddies here, like that was very much appreciated. And the other thing is I need Ellie to be a little bit afraid. Like you said, she's fearless. We all kind of understand why she's fearless on some level.
Because we all know that Ellie is in the unique position that she is already been bitten and is immune. So of course she's going to be fearless. But then you have other people where they're also fearless, but they don't know that she is immune and they are not immune. So it was starting to feel a little bit like The Walking Dead in that way, where it was like the infected are just not a threat.
Okay, this is a pseudo story time / pseudo question for all of you guys at the same point, because I think the thing I struggle with the most about this show in general is just that I don't really relate to a lot of people, and I'm not so narcissistic that it's like I can only view shows through that myopic of a lens, but at the same time, I'm trying to find ways to connect, and in particular, somebody like Ellie, who, yeah, a lot of this is because she's immune and everything else that you said, but even if this isn't a post-apocalyptic world, I still feel like she is the sort of person who would be like, YOLO, I'm gonna go and paraglide off this cliff now without any training whatsoever, and I think some of that comes down to obviously being 19 years old, and when you're 19 years old, there's a certain subset of people who feel like they're invincible. But were you guys to this extreme? Because I'll be honest, when I was 19 years old, the idea of me being fearless was I would maybe go to like one party where there was drinking, and then I would be uncomfortable, and then I would leave after 30 minutes. It's just, I can't connect to these people because I wasn't like this when I was 19.
You're more fearless than me. I wasn't going to a party at 19. I was just playing video games with my friends.
But it's just one of those things where it is sort of like, I know that they're showing Ellie and Dina being a little reckless. Some of that's because of experience. Some of that's because of age. But I think it's just, I have a harder time with it just because I wasn't like that, and I can't really understand that impulse, other than that life in Jackson must be so boring that there's just nothing going on, so you're just got a hankering for that piece of action whenever it's coming.
It's also just really kind of surprising, where it's like Ellie had gone out just on a patrol where she didn't listen to anybody, and it came back, and then she's being pulled off. Oh, you're on fence duty. No, 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 I want to go. Give me another chance. Okay, we're giving you another chance. And she's doing the exact same thing again. Now she's in front of the council. I'm hoping we're not going to end up in the next episode where she's out there again. Like, at what point, where are the consequences? There's a reason why things are the way that they are. They are still a danger, and now that they're adapting, they're even more of a danger. You're in a patrol group for a reason. You have someone that's in charge for a reason. Going in to a building to play shoot 'em up is just not the way to be doing this.
Okay,
somebody needs to pull them off the patrol.
It's time to already have a talk with Tommy, and we're doing this pretty early in the season. Tommy, don't make me do this to you the rest of the season, because I like you. You're one of my favorite characters, but I'm going to pull a word here that's often used in basketball Twitter. You have no aura, man. It's just like, you are already letting her get away with all of this sort of stuff. It's just like, you have no pull moving forward. You
No.
know, your aura is so tiny that you can't tell anybody to do anything anymore. You've already broken the seal of leadership. How do you get that back? I want you to step up like nobody's business and be the awesome dude with the cool hair that I know you can be.
Somebody needs to step up.
Yeah.
We had the leader who was not stepping up. Even the other adult that's sitting on a horse, kind of like, we're just going to let this happen.
Yeah.
This is what happened last time. It's happening again. Like, this is just the way that it is. Every time we go out on a patrol, these two are going to take off and put the whole group in danger. Cool. I wouldn't want to go out on any more of these. Oh, Ellie's coming. Pass. I'll be on fence duty.
Yeah. I want a better understanding of the rules of this world where it's like, do you show up for fence duty or you show up for a patrol and then you see Ellie there? Can you call in sick at the last moment? Can you like go back to town square and be like, hey, anybody else have a hankering for something crazy right now? Just go on, have fun.
So they've got Ellie in a romance episode 1 straight away. I was kind of like, are they gonna build with this, or is it just gonna be straight away? It is just right away, we are in the romance.
I was surprised by how quickly this went, and yeah, like I said, 7-episode season. I get it on some level, and I do like Dina. I think Dina is interesting. She's ambitious. Isabella Merced, I think, is an interesting performer. I'm glad that she's getting this sort of role, but my biggest question is just, why couldn't we see a little bit more of the backstory? We spent so much time in season 1. At times, whole episodes, Bill and Frank, I know how much we love them, but we spent a whole episode on their backstory, and then they were basically gone after that. And now we're being dropped in to this situation where it's being introduced that, okay, these two are close. They've had some friendship that's been going on. I mean, reading between the lines, it was pretty clear that other people knew that the two of them each had feelings for each other. So it's like, okay, we're going to get to this point. We're going to find out how we get there. But it's just, for me, as sort of the hopeless TV romantic that I am. And I love TV romances, but it's also that I love watching them from the beginning. Like, I like seeing what made somebody interested in the other person to begin with. And even if this is a situation where, okay, they didn't initially start with these sort of feelings, I think it's still what made this friend attracted to you, because that's still a thing, you know, friendship attraction, where it's like, okay, you get this person's vibe, you understand where they're coming from. What is it about you that pulls you into them?
I really wish that we had some time with this friendship instead of just getting right there where the spark is, instead of getting a chance to see their friendship grow into romance, little bits of sort of flirting back and forth. It all felt like it happened in a day. And it obviously didn't. It happened over time, but we missed all the part that's the exciting part, the anticipation, the build-up, all that kind of stuff. We just got dropped right into it.
Yeah.
I also like the anticipation and the build-up. So for me, by the time they got to the kiss, I was like, I just met you at this point. Like, I'm not deep enough into it, but I am curious to see how it's gonna go when or if she finds out that Ellie is immune and has not told her, or if Ellie did tell her. Now, I know that we saw Ellie get bit and her trying to like kind of cover up that she did, but that might or might not be for Dina. It might just be for in general. We don't know yet what she knows. Like, we had that whole thing at the beginning with Joel, who's kind of like, well, you're her best friend. You know everything.
Yeah.
And maybe she does and maybe she doesn't. We don't know because we just got dropped in at the finish line.
Yeah. And I want to believe that the whole theme of this season is, you know everything ... except that, because that is, you know, a key situation with Joel and Ellie that we'll get into. And to have that be a situation with Ellie and Dina at this point, like, that's interesting, because that's a huge thing about yourself, especially in this world, that somebody who feels like they're being fully all in on you, and then there's this huge revelation that you never tell anybody about. Like, what does that then do to a relationship? Is it something that you can use to get closer? It's like, oh, you really must trust me if you're telling me this. Or is it, I thought you really trusted me, and why didn't you tell me this until now? It took us kissing for you to actually come be forthright about this?
Okay, why are Ellie and Joel not talking? Like, that's the biggest question at this point, because the last time we saw them, he had saved her life. She, asked him to be like, you swear this is what happened? Yeah, this is what happened. And now we're here 5 years later where they're barely talking. She's not living in the house anymore. She's living in the garage. Anywhere that he is, she doesn't want to be. She's not having dinner with him anymore. She's just like, anytime he tries to step in to like help her in any kind of way, she doesn't want anything to do with him. Is it really just that she's 19 and is trying to find her own way, or is something else going on here?
19 is a convenient excuse because that's something that any person in the world would use to sort of justify what's happening here. And
but also, by the time you're 19, you're kind of starting to get past that a little bit. That's more like a 15 kind of attitude, or 13 kind of attitude. By the time you're almost 20, you're kind of like getting past the curve on that.
It kind of feels a little bit to me from the outside looking in on these characters that there's just a lot of people who really don't want to be bothered to dig into the truth. So they're just sort of like, we'll just say this, and this is a believable enough excuse. But I'll put on a tinfoil hat here for the first time this season. And what I think is happening here, it's not something that's kind of altogether easy to define. But this is why the stuff with Catherine O'Hara was so important in this episode, where she's able to sort of clock that, okay, Joel, you're not being fully upfront about everything. And we have to sort of think back this season 1, and they gave us the whole previously on at the start of this episode. And I think one of the reasons why that was so important was because they wanted to show the tension that was there between Joel and Ellie from the start, to remind us of this, because that's the foundation of Ellie's relationship with Joel. Like, that's the Joel she first knew, and over time, that part of Joel, that slowly evolving part of Joel, was the version of him that she came to really love and respect as a father figure. And I think once you have a secret that is that deep, that you basically are holding on to this life-altering lie, you start to kind of subtly change yourself, because in order to cover up that lie, you want to start being as nice or as caring or as there for a person as you possibly can be, because you don't want to think about that lie either. And I think you're sort of thinking, okay, if I just act like I'm there for them, I'm offering all these sort of things, they'll just think, oh, Dill's being so nice to me. This is great. I love this. I'm never going to suspect anything. When in reality, that person on the receiving end suddenly starts to be like, okay, why is this person being so nice, so demanding, so attentive all the time? And they were never like this before. If it was a little bit of something, I could take it, but something is off. I don't think Ellie even knows exactly what it is. I think she's just, something is off and she can't explain it.
Yeah, because their relationship started as she's cargo, like they showed us in the preview.
Yeah.
And then was like, okay, we've gotten a bit of a better relationship. And then everything that happened at the hospital, where she doesn't have a clear understanding of what happened,
Yeah.
just that he basically helped get her and rescued her in some kind of a way, where she was just like, oh, what happened, sort of thing. And she felt that that was how it played out. And now he's doing it all the time. Oh, don't let her go on the patrol. Oh, she can't do this, she can't do everything. At this point, that she's kind of like, ever since this happened at the hospital, you don't let me do anything. So I'm not exactly sure what is going on here. Is it that you're just so overprotective of me for 5 years that I can't take it anymore? Or is it that you're so overprotective of me since that moment, so something else happened in that moment and her spidey sense is going up?
Yeah, I totally think that she's got a little bit of the spidey sense going on. And I think Joel's behavior is compounding this other thing that is a really, really big issue for her. And this is one of the things that I probably can relate to Ellie on some level with, that's for the majority of her life, she has felt different for some pretty obvious reasons, where we know that she had this quote unquote chosen one vibe about her. And because of that, there was always this need to protect her, to look after her. She never really felt that independent. Like, very different extreme from Ellie, but like, I'm legally blind. I can't drive. I recently got a bicycle, and it's been very exciting for me to have a bicycle, because I'm just like, I can go places on my own. Like, look how independent I am. But that's, I think, what Ellie wants for herself. Ellie wants to be like, look how independent I am. I'm on my metaphorical bicycle here. I'm taking care of problems if somebody is saying something offensive to me. I'm the one who wants to fix my guitar. Me. And I know it sounds kind of selfish in saying that, but I think if you're somebody like Ellie who hasn't had these opportunities to like really show what she's capable of in day-to-day life. I'm not talking
Mhm.
about going out and getting rid of all these quote unquote zombies. I'm just saying, normal day-to-day things. She's really craving that. And I think she feels like Joel, with his overprotectiveness, is taking something away from her. I think she feels like, if I need something, I'll just ask Joel for it. I don't need Joel to just step in and do it for me.
Okay, let's talk about Abby and her group.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know anything about what is coming up, but what I do know is that I love revenge. I am a huge fan of revenge stories, and
Yeah.
whatever is going on, she is very clearly upset about what happened. Now, I don't want to see anything happen to Ellie or Joel, of course. I
Yeah.
really enjoy the story. I'd like to see them make up at some point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, 5 years looking for Joel, that is some revenge.
That is a very, very long time. And I think there's a couple of things we have to remember going into the rest of the season. Number one, we had this particular time jump for a reason. Yeah.
Yes.
Some of it was probably so that the cordyceps creatures can evolve a little bit and we can get to this point where this amplified sense of danger exists. But the other part of it is just that they want that secret to fester, to grow, to expand. And the big thing about secrets in the world of television, yeah, sometimes in life people hold on to secrets to their graves. Like 99% of the time in the world of TV, that never happens. And I think we all know that idea that Joel being able to hold on to everything is really, really naive. And the way in which Abby's talking about this, where she wants to take him out slowly, not great, Bob. Like, really, really not great.
No, it sounds like there also might be a lot of talking and sharing of the secrets. We don't know exactly how Ellie will probably find out about it, but it feels like it's going to be coming.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be coming, and it feels like it's going to be coming courtesy of Abby, somebody who, I've seen Caitlin Dever in a number of different things, and I know she's capable of pulling off a role like this, but I also feel like it's a pretty slow introduction in this episode. We get maybe a few minutes, we see some members of her group, but I think if we really want to get fully on board this character as TV viewers, we need to see a pretty extensive backstory for her, because in order to get a great revenge story that you know and you love very, very dearly,
I do.
You need to have that same pent-up emotion that she does, because we all love Pedro Pascal. I have made it abundantly clear my unhealthy level of Pedro stanness over the course of time here. If she is after my beloved Pedro, there better be a good reason.
Yeah, they need to build it up. Like every really good show that will have something like this where it's like, oh, somebody's coming for revenge for something that somebody else did. We spent the whole first season with Joel. We've all gotten to know him. We all love him. We don't really know a lot about what's going on with Abby yet. We know that there's this huge 5-year time jump, and I'm hoping that we're going to get not a whole episode of backstory on her, but some backstory, so that if she actually gets to have this moment of revenge where she's like, you did this and this is what happened, I want to actually feel both sides of it, where it's like, I know that Joel did what he did to protect Ellie, but Abby has fill in the blank here of revenge, and I get it. Where then I'm really like, I don't know who to root for on this.
Yeah, we have to understand her, because, I mean, obviously, Joel is a flawed human being. I think we can all sit here and say that. Like, this dude has killed a number of people. He was not exactly the nicest guy in the world when he first met Ellie either, but we've had a full season to come to know him and understand him and appreciate him, that in order for whatever is coming to fully deliver, like, we do need that from every angle. I do agree with you 100%. We don't need a full episode. I think 15 to 20 minutes in an episode, maybe where you're playing a little bit around with time, you're jumping backwards, you're jumping forwards. Like, there's plenty of other ways that they can pay that off. And I want to have faith in the Last of Us team for this, because the first season was very, very, very good. Like, there were a number of episodes that I think all of us remember and will forever. I mean, obviously the Bill and Frank one.
Yes.
It's sort of that situation you mentioned Severance earlier, where a show that's been off the air a couple of years, or in Severance's case, 3 years, because the first season is so good, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that, okay, the long hiatus was for a number of reasons, but if you come back after that long and you don't deliver, then it's an extra big problem.
Absolutely. And while there was some stuff that happened in this premiere, it's not the most exciting episode ever, but they definitely set up for the next episode to be quite exciting with the sparkler, and we see all the fungus starting to grow. I mean, if it's growing through all the pipes throughout town, there's got to be a lot of casualties. It feels very much like this town is not savable at this point.
Yeah, this is a really, really big problem. I do really like how they did this reveal too, because it took me a second to kind of figure out, okay, this is exactly what's going on. Oh, it's because of the heat of the sparkler that's causing all of this to happen. But because of all of this, once again, I have a question for the people of Jackson here. Why are you allowing people to have sparklers? Like, what's going on here? There need to be specific rules so that you do not set yourself up in a position where this stuff is going to happen. You have to find a way to avoid it, especially because teenagers are going to be stupid. They're going to do things that make you slam your forehead against the wall. I have seen enough dumb chicken jockey videos online the past week to know this to be true. You can't trust them.
Yeah, it just feels like enough time has passed
Yeah.
that there would be certain things in place to keep people safe. But maybe enough time has passed that's why people are getting a little more reckless, a little more like, oh, it's just fun now. We're going to go in and, kill some of these infected. Yeah, it's a game, because enough time has passed that it's kind of like, it's not a threat. We're great at this. Let's have a little fun.
Where I think all of this is going, and what the show is trying to tell us right now, is that we are very much in the calm before the storm vibes. I do not believe we're going to be sitting here this whole season in this town of Jackson where everything is kind of hunky-dory. They clearly wanted to show that people had moved on to some element of normal life, to the point where even Pedro is willing to take some time and go and work on himself and watch Gail drink in front of him and all this other sort of. Catherine O'Hara was maybe one of the best parts of this episode.
Amazing.
But it is the situation where they want to make you believe that it's normal so that you're a little bit more stunned when it's not.
Right.
But I do think overall, though, this premiere, there was a lot of table setting. Like, is this going to go down in one of my 3 favorite Last of Us episodes? No, it's not my least favorite either by any means. It kind of falls somewhere in the middle, but I'm very excited with where it ends. I'm pretty interested to know how they're going to pick everything up from here, and, who's going to be in the most danger and soon.
Yeah, the cliffhanger's pretty exciting. I am very curious to see how things are going to play out with this revenge story, how, get that final confrontation of what is going on here with Joe and Ellie. Why are they not really talking anymore? I know he's got questions about it, me too. What is really going on here with that? It's very sad to see where we ended last season to get to where we are now, where they're barely even talking.
That's the hardest thing about where the show is right now, is it's just, it's not a fun watch at the moment. There's just a lot of people who are very bummed out in their lives. And I mean, looking at the world, I get it, but I want something better for these people, and I'm probably going to get egg on my face for saying that.
Yeah, I'm more interested in this relationship with Joel and Ellie than I am in Ellie and Dina or any of these other relationships that are going on.
Yeah, it's that they're our foundation. That has been
are.
The show, but that is where we are coming out of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1. But of course, we want to know from you guys, what did you enjoy the most about this premiere? What all are you looking forward to? No spoilers from the video games, please. I'll reiterate that again. But also, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more coverage of The Last of Us, The Handmaid's Tale, and you can support us further by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description. As Jess said earlier, we're covering Bosch Legacy over there, and we have a poll to see if we're going to cover next over there the likes of Andor, Criminal Minds, or Murderbot. Thank you so much. We'll see you here next time.